it's a beautiful chaos, a
Mm.
beautiful chaos. And what I have worked out recently, because I gave myself, when I first became a dad, I gave myself these titles and roles internally. Like, and I now have to be a provider. I have to be a supporter. I have to be a teacher, all these things.
Mm.
And the teaching one was big. And it comes up a lot for some of the men that I talk to personally and in coaching scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
where there's this inbuilt idea that as dad, you have to teach.
Mm.
And I think when I look back at my dad, he did his best to teach me, and his dad probably did the same. I have decided to let go of the idea of teaching unless it's asked for by my kids. So if my daughter asks for help with maths, then I'll step into the teaching role. What I want to do instead is model the behavior that I feel is right and true and authentic and just in the world. So if I fuck up by yelling because I'm tired and I've had a long day and I didn't sleep and the dog dug another hole in the yard, nothing they did, and I yell at them, then once I take a couple of breaths, I'll say, that has nothing to do with you. That was all me. And you don't need to take any of that load. That's all on me. And
Fuck, that'd be powerful to hear. I just hearing you say that, I realized that never happened to me. My parents never said that. They would never come back and say that was on me.
No, I don't
crazy.
think I can see looking back now that my parents probably thought that, probably felt that, but I don't really know many times I got an apology from parent to child.
Yeah.
I just, and it's not that they didn't do the best job they could do. And my parents are fucking amazing. Like they're fucking amazing. But yeah,
even just hearing you say that, I felt it in my body, like how it would have felt if I was to have my father or mother say that to me. How nice that, like how much that would have landed for me and how much safety that would have created.
Huge amount of safety. Like you talk about containers, right? That's a safe family container. Because what do your kids want the most? They want safety. Exactly. Well, yeah, which is implicit in that container, right? That whoever you are, whatever you do, it's okay here. Whatever comes up, we can work with it.
Yeah.
You just do you the best you can do you.
Yes.
And we'll work the other shit out. Like let's throw the grenade in and we'll just pick up the pieces afterwards. It's okay.
Yeah. That's powerful. I'm curious, like what came up when you were saying that you dropped the role of teaching altogether? I've done that with my friends over the last few years as I realized that I was almost trying to control them because of my own insecurities of feeling like I need to always get better. And therefore I was always trying to change my friends. And now I just simply ask, hey, how would you like me to best support you here? And a lot of the time that just means listening. I don't even want to give advice to my friends really, because I'm not trying to prove myself constantly as I'm talking to them. I save that for podcasts like this.
Brilliant. I love it.
So, but when I'm doing these chats with my friends or like my sister or something like that, I just reflect back, like, because that's how I want to be treated now from my friends. I often, most of the time, don't want to be given advice because I seek so much of it through coaches and whatnot. I just want either encouragement or listening or just chatting about other things. But I'm curious to know, like, as a dad, if you could, like, if there's still the role of teaching, and how it could, I had a specific thought earlier. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was, I wonder if it gets integrated in without them asking for it. Maybe you asking if they feel okay with you teaching them before you do it, because surely there's going to be surely kids won't want to be asked, or do they just want advice regularly, or do they want to be taught things without you instigating it?
Yeah, the short is, in my experience, and it was true for me, it's true for almost everyone I've spoken to, and I'm pretty sure it's true for my kids, even though I haven't asked them explicitly, is they don't want to be told what to do, especially when they're coming into teen years. So my son's 13, so he's fully adopted teenhood now.
Yeah.
My daughter's 10, but she's going on 14. Like she's an old soul. She gets it. So I'm dealing effectively with two teenagers.
Yes.
They don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah, I never did either.
And they're smart enough in their own ways, because they're both completely different entities. It's amazing that they came from the same parents. They are so different.
Yes.
So they both have their own genius, their own way of processing the world, of interacting with the world.
Uh-huh.
I'm not like either of them completely. There are some aspects that overlap. So who am I to tell them how to live? Because I don't understand their experience.
Yes.
I don't completely understand their perspective of the world.
Yes.
And I think when I let go of assuming I knew better for them, that's when I
Yeah.
can stop teaching.
Yes.
They'll
So what
still
about
come to me if
things?
they've got questions, right? And that's
Yeah.
fine. I can step into that then and say, oh, you've asked a question about that. Let's do you want to jump in? We'll go in. We'll go for it.
Mm.
My son will, because he knows the work that I do. Some nights he knows he's thinking too much. Dad, can you come in and can we talk? Can we do some of the work that you do? Because I'm thinking too much and I'm not enjoying it, or I don't like it, or I hate it, or whatever language he uses. Sure,
Yes.
let's do it. My daughter, if she can't sleep, she'll ask me to do some magic because she knows I do hypnotic work. Can we do some magic, Dad? We can
That's
do
so
magic
cool.
anytime you want to do magic. But I'm not going to say to you what you should be doing if you can't sleep is let your thoughts go.
Yes.
Doesn't work. It'd be like me telling you exactly what to do to fix a problem. You'd be like, fuck you, Adam. You don't know where this problem came from, nor how it's really affecting me. I don't need
Yes.
you to tell me how to do it.
I understand. And this is the same approach that I take with my friends.
Yes.
And I'm curious to know if there's room as a parent, because if you think back to my assumption of how they worked within a tribal culture is that you have you've got a hierarchy of wisdom through the older teaches the younger. There's initiations, the boys become men,
ceremony.
the men teach the boys. But there'd be a learning and a paying forward of storage and a passing on of knowledge and a teaching how to hunt and stuff like this. And I know that they wouldn't have just been like, cool, boys, do whatever you want. And then if you ever want to learn to hunt, it's like, no, you hunt, like, surely. So I'm curious to know, like, if there's a balance with it where you might go to your kids and say, hey, I'd really love to teach you something that's really that I've learned, which is how to, do some building stuff. Is that something you'd be interested in? And then if you get their buy-in, then you could teach them versus just the pure passive, which I still think so much more, like from my own experience with how I've liked to be interacted with and how I have seen people respond positively to my interactions as friends and family members, etc. The unconditional love, and they're not trying to change them, but just if there's room for like a midpoint of like, there's certain things that you think would be really valuable that are just general things that you can ask for their buy-in without an expectation. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Well, the idea and your word, not mine, of a container is perfect because a container has a boundary. There is an outside. So
Yes.
kids need boundaries. If you give them complete freedom, it's like anyone. You give my puppy's running around the yard at the moment. If I give her complete freedom and she's not corrected when she does the wrong thing, she might as well be just a wild animal. She's not a domesticated animal because she'll revert back to true nature. So the kids are kind of the same. I'm comparing true nature. They will go off the rails if you give them no boundaries because they don't know the difference between quote unquote right and wrong. So it's kind of like you can be a yogi and be immensely spiritually aware, but you still have to pay attention when you're crossing the street. There are boundaries. You have a physical body that can end.
Yes.
Same with kids. So we have to teach them basics. But my kids are at the age now where they're aware of their own separation from the world as well as their connection to the world. They're not a newborn child who doesn't realize that they're separate. That's that wonderful thing where we're born connected and we have to work out our way to get back to being connected with the universe, the source, the void, whatever we want to call it, God, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
So my thing with the kids is I will make suggestion rather than tell them. I think that's the difference for me, at least, is I don't tell them they have to do something. So I've been giving
even chores and stuff.
Well, see, chores is interesting. I got them to buy in because they wanted something else. They wanted to get income of their own. They wanted the standard pocket money thing. So I said, okay, how are we going to do this? Which jobs do you want to do around the house? Which jobs do you know that need to be done around the house? How can you help out? So they come back with ideas and then we work through the process together. how much is that worth? What do you think is fair in terms of income, that what it will cost your mum and I to pay you to do this work? So we're teaching transaction, we're teaching finance. When they make money, we've got a process of, there's money that they can spend, there's money they save, and then there's money for charity, for donations, and then they can decide where that money goes. So if they get $10 a week, how do we divvy that up? So they learn stuff within each of these little activities. I'm not explicitly teaching them how to be good with money, but they know already that you don't just make it and spend it. Some of it goes into savings, some of it goes to the greater good, and then you get your fun money.